broken. Smith, now they got some numbers. Off goes Curry, gambling and galloping down that left-hand side. Still alive, still alive. This is poetry in motion. And now it comes back to Smith, who drills a kick, really catches it, jumbles it for good measure, has a look for the try line, and he's there to score.
Hello guys, welcome back to the Try Time Podcast YouTube channel. I'm Callum, one half of the Try Time Podcast, and here's 5 things we learn from the England versus Tonga Test Series. So first off, one of, for me, the most obvious observations that could be made from the 3 matches was the pride and passion that this England team played with. They all seemed happy and proud to play for England, which has potentially been lost through the years and through certain players, playing in the NRL or not being born in English and kind of converting as a sort of like a second nation. But these young, mostly like Super League players who've come through, who've been given a chance. Maybe someone like Harry Newman, I think, is a really good example of a player who, maybe if England had everyone fit, he might not have been picked. But he showed such desire, and so did all of the other boys, to play for England. You could tell they were proud. Your Mikey Lewis's, players like that. I think they give a really good account of themselves, and they're what you want to see in an England shirt because they're proud to play for the country, ultimately. Secondly, I think one of the big things that I saw from the 3 tests was England's ability to play expansive rugby. Being in your own country against a Tonga team who probably want to play expansive rugby just as the nature of the sort of down under teams. They do want to play that sort of rugby, faster pitches, warmer pitches, and things like that. And obviously going to England, and for the 3 tests the weather wasn't great, and it would be easy for England to maybe roll up the sleeves, play through the middle, kind of play to the conditions better than Tonga would have been able to because of where their players are based. But England chucked the ball about, and there's another point which I'll come to, which is probably a reason why they had the ability to. But I still think the way England played and the no fear approach against a top team, don't matter how Tonga performed, they are, especially on paper, a top team up there with the Aussies and New Zealand. The fact that England could play this expansive rugby can only be a positive. So coming on to the third point, and we're now moving over to the visitors, Tonga, and how they performed. I think a big thing was they just seemed to lack any sort of fitness. I saw a lot of times it was from a kick-off. They could defend a really good set and looked imposing, but it just seemed to fall off due to fitness reasons. And I mean, one of the most bizarre things I saw in every single test was the narrowness of their defence. They always seem to be an option for England to just spread the ball, which I guess relates to the last point. But the defence was just so narrow. I understood it, when you're defending on your opponent's try line and you're wanting to sort of squeeze in and stop the team from progressing up the pitch. But even when defending their own line, I just thought there was way too narrow, and England exploited it by scoring the majority of their tries on the outside, really. So the next point is probably more of a general point that I think everyone who supports rugby league in England can probably see, is that England need more tests against the big down under teams, whether it's Australia, New Zealand, Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, any of them, whether it's on their turf, on our turf, it needs to happen because England need to be testing themselves consistently against these teams to be able to progress into hopefully eventually being, competing at the World Cup and winning the World Cup ultimately, whichever, whether it's down under or, over in England, they need to be playing against the best teams. And no disrespect to France or any of the sort of other home nations, it just isn't the same as playing against these NRL level players, really. So for the last point, we are back on England, really. So I think you've got to look at Shaun Wane. I mean, this is the first time I've mentioned him, and he is the coach, and you've got to give him his dues, really, for this 3-0 win that no one really saw coming. And I think the big thing coming from this is the selection headache he is going to have in the future, whether it's next year, in 2 years, in 3 years at the World Cup, whichever it is. But I mean, some of these fringe players who've stepped in due to injuries or players not being available for whatever reason have really staked their claim to be in this team. You know, Mikey Lewis is only going to get better in the next couple of years. Harry Newman, Matty Ashton, you know, even a player like Tom Johnston, with England having all the best wingers fit, does he really make it into the team over Makinson and Dom Young? I mean, the way he played shows that he probably should do, and this is a big thing that Wayne's got to look forward to, I guess. So that has been 5 things that we learned from England versus Tonga. If there's anything else that you can think of or that we've missed in this video, then please just drop us a comment below or tweet us it, Facebook message it, whatever it needs to be. We'll be there and you can let us know. And yeah, this has been the first proper video since the reboot. Keep your eyes peeled for Wednesday when we've got our first proper podcast. And yeah, the content's rolling out. And yeah, enjoy. I've been Callum, and I'll see you in a bit.